So after all those years of killing and fighting for us to impose our will on them, it didn't work. But now, after having left, even though there was a tough transition period, now we finally get back to a more sensible relationship with the country, and we do quite well. So the quicker we accept this idea that non-intervention is much better than us assuming this moral superiority that we know how to run the world and take care of other countries and impose our will, I think the better off we will be. And in many ways, we have several choices in our foreign policy. The one that we have today is a foreign policy of empire. We're now we have 700 military establishments around the world. We're in 130 countries. And we're bankrupting our nation because of this maintenance. And we're literally a lot less secure because of it. There's no doubt in my mind, nor is there doubt in the minds of many, many others, that the main reason why we are threatened by outsiders coming in here and wanting to kill us is because of our foreign policy. It's not because we're free and prosperous. There are other countries that are free and prosperous, and they're not attacked. If we never address that and we don't come down to the correct conclusion, we're not going to solve this problem. It's going to last forever as long as we feel that we have this moral right to impose ourselves around the world. There were many who were hopeful after the breakdown of the end of the Cold War and the breakdown of the Soviet system that we would cut back, we would have less money to spend on armaments, and we could come home, so to speak. But none of that happened. It seemed like there was a need to have another enemy. We had to have an excuse, had to have another excuse to keep the military-industrial complex going. Eisenhower had warned us about the military-industrial complex, but our first president, Washington, warned us of the same thing. He warned us about a military establishment, a permanent military establishment, which would be a threat to our liberties. This was our first president, and then Eisenhower more recently said, "Don't do it. It's not good." And here we are in the midst of another war, and probably the most serious consequence, although financially it's a serious consequence, the most serious consequence of a war mentality is a threat to personal liberty. That is the biggest threat that we have to be concerned with. Randolph Bourne was absolutely right when he said war is the health of the state. If you believe in liberty, if you believe in freedom, and you want your personal liberty, you have to be opposed to unnecessary war. Defensive war, that is one thing. But unnecessary provoking of other countries is something else. The one thing that has bothered me most about what has gone on recently has been the fact that we as a nation this time invaded a country that was no threat to us whatsoever. We invaded that country. This was a preemptive war. We've been involved before, and in a way that we shouldn't have. Vietnam didn't threaten us, but there was a war going on, and we picked sides and we went in. Korea was the same thing. Our CIA's been involved numerous times, and of course, one of the worst episodes of our CIA being involved is currently a big problem to us, and that's dealing with Iran. But this is different in Iraq. This was a planned invasion and occupation of a country that had no weapons whatsoever that they could deal with us. They never threatened us in any way whatsoever. And it was also one of the reasons this power was given to the president, this authority, was to enforce UN resolutions. So this to me is a dramatic shift from even the interventions that we've had throughout the 20th century, but much more so. And we, as a country, now face a serious problems because of it. There's no practical benefit to a policy of foreign intervention. The benefits aren't there. It is said that we need to do it. Sometimes we have to be in the Middle East. We have to protect our oil. Well, that's not a logical conclusion. That's part of the old mercantilistic ideas of protecting your natural resources, that you have to own them and connect them. And that's why you have to have a colonial powers. This is neo-colonialism, the fact that we think that we have to have troops in the Middle East to protect our oil